This is NASCAR Today Midday on the Motor Racing Network.
From Volusia to Chico, Williams Grove to Knoxville, and all dirt tracks in between and beyond. This is Winged Nation. 1 full hour of news and interviews with today's top dirt drivers. Now, your award-winning hosts, Steve Post and Kendra Jacobs.
Hello again. It's Winged Nation here on MRN.com, talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. And we are glad you joined us here on MRN.com, along the video stream, or wherever, all the ships at sea, wherever you're tuning in on the app. We are glad you joined us. We have a great program for you coming up. We have Stevie Smith coming up. He had a pretty good weekend, I would say.
Slightly.
So we just figured, well, Stevie probably in a good mood. Give him a call, see what's going on, see what they said at the bank on Monday morning, So Stevie Smith joins us. We have Brad Doty coming up. There's so much going on in the sprint car world. It's like, well, I want to talk a little about this. I want to talk about a little of this. It's like, who do we talk to? We talked to Brad Doty. Of course, you can read his column in Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. And then so much going on in the sprint car world. And, we talk about it, but the MOA series, another one of our these cool series that we have here across the country, they're wrapping up another season. Jeremy Standridge, we talked to him before they started their first season 4 or 5 years ago. We just want to get up to speed, find out what's going on at Jacksonville, Illinois, find out how they're doing 4 or 5 years in, how things are going. So we'll talk to Jeremy Standridge as well. Alongside Kendra Jacobs. And Kendra, another one of the big ones this past weekend, the big three, the Knoxville Nationals, Kings Royal, and the National Open. And while they fought Mother Nature, they ended up getting it in. And to the delight of the Pennsylvania posse, Stevie Smith picked up the win.
Yeah, kudos to everybody who stuck around because that was a long weekend of depressing weather.
Yeah.
So you would see every day less people, but the ones who really stuck it out, that was a long weekend of waiting around, but I think they saw a pretty good race in the end.
Saw a pretty good race in the end. The show was ran. It was done. $50,000 was paid. I think you've got to give kudos to the World Racing Group and to Williams Grove Speedway. I think here's the other thing. I think there was a lot of talk midweek last week. They just were going to scrap everything. And, in hindsight, looking at it now, I know everyone's glad they did what they did. But at that point, it was like it made perfect sense because my understanding is they had this Thursday and Friday before everyone rolled up the rolling wheels to do something. But, they fought, they scrapped, they clawed, they communicated. We would know by midday what the game plan was. So people that were maybe 2 or 3 hours away from Williams Grove weren't checking the kids out of school and moving on. They communicated. They put a plan in place. They kept their head down. And by gosh, on Sunday night, they were greeted with decent weather and a great race. So kudos to the folks at Williams Grove and the World Racing Group. Nobody wants to deal with what they dealt with. They did it. $50,000 was paid out. We have a winner, and we move on.
And I loved his little celebration, which was very un-Stevie-like.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, stopping at Beer Hill. He's not one of those guys that I would say is the Beer Hill guy.
No,
you know what I mean?
no.
Like, he's not this crazy partier, say whatever he wants. Like,
he's not Brian Monteith. We understand
quiet.
He's pretty quiet,
stays
pretty
to
low-key.
himself. Yeah. He goes over to Beer Hill and gets out of that car and celebrates right there with them.
It's amazing. And when you look at Stevie Smith, 24 years ago today, he won his second National Open.
It's crazy. That's
24
crazy.
years between the wins.
I think Stevie still looks relatively young. So to think that he was still racing that long ago and winning big events like that's crazy.
Absolutely. So Stevie Smith picked up the win. It was his third National Open victory. Obviously driving for Fred Raymer. Donnie Schatz second. Logan Schuchart. Man, great night for Logan Schuchart.
We say it every week, Steve. He's getting better and better. He's been consistently top 5 for the last few weeks we've done the show.
It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time.
Justin Henderson driving for Donnie Kreitz fourth.
Isn't
that cool?
Great.
Isn't that awesome?
He looked great from the moment he hit the track. It was like he never left Pennsylvania.
Exactly. Brian Monteith finished in the 5th spot, so really good.
Yeah, it wasn't a great weekend for the Outlaws.
No, it wasn't.
Or a great day.
No, it wasn't.
We were down to. Schatz was the only one in the top 5, right? Well, Logan, sorry.
Schuchart,
Schatz and Logan.
Exactly. But
how many didn't make the show?
Well, what was it? Joey and Carey had to take provisionals.
Joey and Carey took provisionals. McMahon,
so that left like
not
Paul,
in the
who's
show.
like 5th or 6th in points, out.
Yes, Sides, Jason Johnson, Jacob Allen. It was just a crazy night as far as looking more like who was not in it rather than who was.
A couple of notes on Stevie Smith. He's had 12 Williams Grove starts this year. He's won 6 of them.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. And when you consider 2 are World of Outlaw races, Okay, 2 are Pennsylvania. I think he won both Pennsylvania Speed Week races. I mean, so pretty good time there for Stevie Smith. Donnie Schatz, he clinched the World of Outlaw Championship by starting.
He clinched it in like March.
Yeah, well, okay, there you go.
I think it was pretty done.
Yeah, mathematically he clinched it. Yes, mathematically everyone else has been eliminated now. Greg Hodneck clinched the Williams Grove Track Championship. And this one we talked about a little bit. The Beer Hill gang went out, and Matt particularly, the Beer Hill hugger, went out and raised $1,500 for the rookie of the race. Chase Dietz, third in the C main, $1,500. That's more than Cody Dara made for finishing 14th in the A.
Wow.
Which you could say, well, maybe they should have paid. No. You should say kudos to the Beer Hill gang and to Matt.
Yep.
Chase Dietz, the rookie of the race, $1,500. So really, really good stuff. Let's continue on looking at our Valco Racing Wheels results page. Of course, Valco made by racers, for racers, VAH, LCO. Kendra National Sprint League, the fearsome 410 finale, wrapping up their year. This, to me, was really interesting as well. Friday night, Brian Clausen over Danny Lasowski and Terry McCarl. Saturday night, Tim Kading from 14th. Man, that's strong. That is strong.
That is a Kading-esque performance.
Yeah, in the Midwest. So we talked to Tim a few weeks ago on our MAV TV show. Really good to see. But listen to this. Tim Kading first, Steve Kinzer second, and Dominic Selzy third.
Dominic, who first time racing with those guys.
Yeah, with
goes
George
out
and
there
Danny
with
Lasowski.
Yeah, and I saw he posted all these thanks and what a great weekend he had. I mean, what an experience for him.
We had Gary on Wing Nation on
Oh,
MAV
God, it was so much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So much fun.
And talk about a proud father. This was before he went out there. But, folks, we're seeing, and again, we've talked about the California kids. And it's like, oh, yeah, they go out there and they run their little King of the West series. They do this, they do that. Okay, Dominic Selzy just brought it to the Midwest and put it on the podium in his second time in a strange car. These kids out there are really, really good. So great stuff. IRA, Kendra, we talked about this point battle we had last week. Oh, my gosh, tied up. Okay, Todd King picked up the win. Bill Rose second. And it really
and that
turned
was
out,
enough, right? Because all they had to do was finish, whoever was finished ahead of the other one.
It turned out that everyone else started wrecking early. So Bill, it wasn't one of these seesawing back and forth. The year was a seesawing back and forth battle, but the race, Bill got himself good. He set quick time, stayed up front. Everyone else had problems, wrecked in the work area. So Bill Rose ended up scoring the championship. 20 different winners this season in the IRA.
I mean, that's exactly what the IRA was hoping would happen once Billy left and went to NSL. So it shows that there's a lot of strength in that series. Bill was just that good that he kind of overshadowed all of that.
And Billy won a few, and with their companion races, I know the list had Rico Abreu, had Dale Blaney, had Dusty Zomer, but there's a good 10 or 12 that are IRA regulars that scored wins this season. And really, really good what's going on with the IRA. So congratulations to Steve Sinclair, to Bill Rose, and to everyone at the IRA for just another strong season. Weekly 410 Racing, Atomic Speedway in Chillicothe. Cole Duncan picked up the win. Cole's been awful tough up there and scored another win at Chillicothe. That one, I believe, was postponed until Sunday also. So there you have it, the Valco Wheels results page, made by racers, for racers, www.valco.com, Valco Racing Wheels. We need to step away. When we come back, Stevie Smith joins us here on Wing Nation.
Hey, this is Jason Sides, and you're listening to Steve and Kendra on Wing Nation here on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Racers, that's who Valco Wheels are. That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels.
The American Sprint Car Series returns for its 24th year. Over 150 events across national and regional schedules, 56 cities, 16 states, and some of the sport's best like Herrera, Swindell, Hafertepe, and Reitzel, along with the next generation of stars. See the full lineup of events at ASCSRacing.com. Get updates on Facebook and Twitter, and catch every Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour event live on RacingBoys.com.
This is Dale Blaney, and you're listening to Steve Post and Kendra Jacobs on Wing Nation.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Wing Nation here on MRN.com. I'd like to remind you, MRN.com, all the latest sprint car news. Jeff Wackerlin, the Prince of Darkness, he never sleeps, and he has all of the sprint car news
and
on there.
He's an addict like us.
Oh, my gosh. He's like, Jeff, would you rather go to the Daytona 500 or an IRA show at Oshkosh? Put me up for the IRA in Oshkosh. I'm
he's
in.
Good. I love when we go to Knoxville over here. He's there before us.
Before us, after us.
He's there after. Like, he is more geared up than we are. He just doesn't have a microphone to talk about it.
We go to the hotel, and there's all the stories online, and get back to get back there and everything. So really, really cool. And, of course, the big story this weekend was from the National Open. We were just noting that 24 years ago, Stevie Smith won his second National Open. 2 days ago, he won his third one, and he joins us on the program. Stevie, welcome back and congratulations.
Oh, hi, Steve. Thank you. And hi, Kendra.
Hey, I mean, really, I'm sitting here trying to do the math, which, I'm horrible at. That's why I talk instead of engineer anything. But how old would you have been in your last win? Was it like 19, 20 maybe?
You know what? I guess I'm horrible at math, Kendra. I can't even remember that far back. That's the problem. People were asking me, is it 22 years ago, 24 years ago? I'm like, you know what? I'd have to sit down and get some help with this because it's been way too long, and I can't remember the exact dates. I know I've won it 3 times, and one time was in '89. And I'm not sure where the other date falls in, so I'd have to go back and look.
It was 24 years ago today.
Okay.
Today was the 1991. Whatever today's date is, October 6, 1991. So this is the 24th anniversary of that second one, the 2-day anniversary of the 2-day anniversary of the third one. Stevie, tell us first off, getting to Sunday night just had to be painful, sitting up there and waiting and waiting and waiting. But tell us about Sunday night, how it unfolded for you. I mean, I guess my question is, did anything go wrong? Because it looked near as flawless as you could get.
No. I mean, actually, everything went perfect because, it was one of those nights. Everything just kind of fell in place, and it seemed like it was supposed to be. I don't know. It's taken me 23 years to be able to do this again. So obviously we had a lot of luck, and especially with Donnie, lining up right there with us and beside us, and so when I look back a couple of days ago here, it was just one of those really good nights, and that's what it took, I guess, to be able to do this again 24 years later.
When that open red flag came out with less than 10 laps to go and you knew Schatz was right behind you, what was going through your mind when you were sitting there in the car?
Well, I know that his success and his ability, that I had to hit the corners right, and I had to do everything perfect, or he was going to try to take this thing away. And so basically I was just focusing on what I was doing, not worrying about him, because at that point, if I started worrying about where he's running or what he's doing, I'm going to lose this race myself. So just focusing ahead, and it was kind of strange because I felt really good. Of course, the race car was really good. I mean, that's why we were up front. And so basically I was just trying not to make mistakes. But the last 2 laps, I noticed actually about 3 to go, I started feeling like I was sitting on top of the track, and I thought, uh-oh. And I didn't know this, but the right rear tire wore down. So I started to slow down, and then sure enough, after the checkered, he was right on my bumper. So I don't know if he had a little more rubber left, but at that point I was switching gears to stay and make sure I was blocking and taking up the lane as opposed to the first 37 laps. I was just racing my race at the best pace I could go. So everything changed there in the last couple of laps, and I was just able to hold him off.
Wow, that's amazing.
It really was amazing racing, because I didn't feel like watching on Dirt Vision he ever really got that close to you. So I thought that you pulled a
I think on open track when we were racing, I think we were still turning some really good times, and we were able to make a little ground. But it just seemed awfully strange in the last couple laps. And then, of course, when I seen the tire, we all might have been doing the same thing, just holding on there, trying not to slide out of the groove.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Stevie, when the race was over, you did something very un-Stevie Smith-like, okay? You're a pretty buttoned-up guy, pretty low-key, get out of the race car, thank everyone you need to thank, and kind of move on. But you stopped over in turn number 3 in front of Beer Hill. Why? What did that mean to you to be able to take a little bow for that gang over there?
Well, it means a lot because they're a big part of that racetrack, and they're all PA. So I feel like since I've been pretty much committed to racing in PA these last couple of years, and then being a part of that, and not jumping all over the country here, that they've been awfully supportive. They're always down to the car after the races, win or lose, and it's just a pretty neat group of people that kind of that sits on that backstretch. And I thought, you know what, this has been a really good year and a really good night, and just wanted to go over there and tell them thanks.
I mean, speaking of a really good year, Steve and I kind of talked about this earlier this week. To run a partial schedule is usually not successful for teams. Usually you see where they don't, or they're not able to keep up with teams who are running consistently every single weekend. Why do you think your team is different? Because it feels like every time you guys get in the car, you're extremely competitive, if not winning.
Yeah, well, Kendra, I mean, I'm going to tell you, there's definitely I don't see an advantage to what we're doing by running less races, because actually I get more comfortable and I feel better after running, like say Speed Week 5-6 nights in a row.
Yeah.
But one thing that really helps me as a driver is Fred's continuing racing with the boys when I'm not racing. So it seems like they kind of keep things in line, their rhythm. The cars, they're getting feedback from those two and watching the cars. So the car's been really close every time I've gotten in it, and that's helping me because I'm feeling a little rusty from sitting out for a couple weeks. Like right now, I mean, I sit out now until Charlotte, and I'm sure the first couple laps it's not going to feel like it did the last couple at Williams Grove. So that's helping me, but I don't really have an answer to that question. I don't see an advantage, and at my age, and if I would even to run less, I think there's going to be a point there where I may start getting behind. So I got to be careful.
Find that balance, that's for sure. Stevie, we've kicked this around, Fred and you and the boys and everything like that, this whole partial schedule, so much success. My question to you is, how good is Moon Byers?
Moon, he was racing. He was working on race cars when he and babysitting me back when I was a little kid. So he's been around this and in this sport longer than I have. And I think, all those years of experience, because he used to work for my dad, and that's before I was still trying to figure out how to ride bicycles. And so I think all that experience, he's really good. He's learned, you learn a lot of things not to do as you gain experience, and you of course, you remember everything that does work good. So he's been very, very valuable. I mean, it shows. I mean, this is, 3-4 years ago, I was trying to figure out if I could still drive one of these race cars. And, I mean, and Fred, and they're all a big part of it. Obviously, I don't think that if you would separate Moon, Fred, or any of them, I don't think we'd be as successful, because I think they all work together good. But Moon and Fred are on the same page, and Moon just brings a lot to the table. He's just he's an added touch.
I think the thing that amazes me is Moon Byers this year has won the biggest races in the country with Stevie Smith, and he's taken 2 second-year drivers with Brandon and Freddie and won at a very tough Lincoln Speedway. I think that speaks volumes to Kendra, to who Moon Byers is, and the diversity that is able to pull that all off.
Well, and it's one of those things we've talked about, and it's exactly what Stevie is saying, that the consistency is key. We talk about that with Ricky and Donnie, and George and Dale. That's a big part of the success. Stevie, one of our listeners got on Twitter and said, when Fred won the National Open last time, he announced his retirement. Oh, no. We're not looking for that from you, but what does the future look like for your career?
That's been, that's funny you say that. I'm not a man of many words, but it's definitely in my head. I'm not sure when retirement's going to come for me. May not be as long as what one would think. I've considered it several times, and I think right now we're gonna focus. I like to do one race at a time. I've told Steve this many times. I'm gonna focus on Charlotte, and then figure out where we're gonna go from there. I don't know. I'm really busy with my own business here in Oklahoma, and but I'm having so much fun. I don't feel like I'm ready to retire today, but I don't know what I'll feel like next year. I don't know what I'll feel like the year after, but I know my time's limited as a driver, and just having one hell of a good time here right now. So I've never said anything to anybody. I'm not really considering it. I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's very fair, and I don't know if anyone would want to climb out of a seat that good right now. That's for sure.
No kidding.
Stevie, yeah, really. Stevie, congratulations on the win, the success. We'll look forward to catching up with you in person down here in Charlotte. Can't wait to catch up and see you guys running live. But thanks for joining us here on Wing Nation.
Oh, you're very welcome, and always enjoyable. Thanks. Have a good week, you guys.
Absolutely, we will. There's Stevie Smith, the winner of a three-time winner of the National Open.
I'm really trying to. In '89, he was not. He was like a baby. I don't understand.
26 years ago.
Yeah, I don't. I must have my math completely wrong, but he looks extremely young. So whatever he's
he
using,
look 40. He doesn't look 40 now.
No, but if you think
I know he's north of that, but he doesn't look 40 now.
It blows my mind. I'm really trying to do math of how young was he when he won the first National Open? That's insane.
He comes from pretty good genes too. I mean,
he does.
The old man's got some good.
And then you think about Moon Byers. He says Moon Byers babysat me or worked for my dad when I was. God, Steve, it's crazy to me. But I love seeing these guys that won back then still winning today.
Still winning today. That's
we
the
go
beauty
through
of our
these
sport.
ebb and flows of the young kids are winning. Now the veterans are winning. Now the young kids. And it's really cool when you look at the difference between Stevie winning and Logan Schuchart running third.
I know, it's great.
It's fantastic.
It's the current and the past of the sport, and we're not throwing Stevie out in the past here, but the future also.
Yeah,
really cool. That visit with Stevie Smith was brought to you by Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery. You can find out more at ClassicInkUSA.com. ClassicInkUSA.com. More than just T-shirts and sweatshirts. Check out all the great stuff at ClassicInkUSA.com. We need to step away. When we come back, Brad Doty going to break it all down with us. He is a columnist for Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. We'll talk to Brad in just a moment.
I'm Danny Holcraver, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
O'Reilly. A rough-running engine could be suffering from buildup of fuel and oil deposits, but O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Clean out engine buildup and improve fuel economy with Seafoam Motor Treatment. On sale for $7.99 each at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The new standard in race car screen printing and embroidery, Classic Ink USA. Full custom race car track swag apparel, quality customer service, and the industry's finest graphic designers, assuring quick turnaround and the highest customer satisfaction. See the latest designs at ClassicInkUSA.com, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or call us 724-482-6224. Serving racers and their teams, all divisions, all over the world. Classic Ink USA, at the track and on your back.
Hi, I'm Casey Kane. Now back to Wing Nation.
Thank you, Casey. We appreciate you bringing us back here from the break. Always great to hear from Stevie Smith, and really great to hear from our next guest, one of our favorite guys to talk to. We catch him all over the place, and love chatting with him here on Wing Nation. You can catch his fine work at Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. Great column in there each and every month. Brad Doty joins us on the program. Hello, Brad.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We are well, Brad. Kendra and I just had a little discussion here. We just talked to Stevie Smith, as you know, of course, winner of the big National Open. We talk about this Stevie Smith winning the race, but you look at third, Logan Schuchart, the kids and everything. I just feel like with these veterans and these kids, We're at a really cool spot with this sport right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, there's such a good blend of the veterans still out there and winning races, but yet we got plenty of really young talent, and there's a whole lot out there that unfortunately we don't even know about yet, and may never know about. They don't get the right opportunities. But yeah, there's as far as the sport and drivers are concerned, the next generation, we have no worries.
Yeah, well, when you look at this year, every year there seems to be some drivers that stand out. When you look at this season, who are some that stand out the most to you?
Oh gosh, well, it's ironic because I just turned my sprint car midget column in, and obviously besides Donnie Schatz, I look at what Shane Stewart's done, and he's been so overshadowed with what Schatz has done. They have 9 races, and doing it with Suchi leaving, the crew chief leaving. I believe it was in May, and Scotty Martin stepping up as the crew chief. So those guys have kind of been a little bit of a surprise, I think, and unfortunately they're being overshadowed.
That's a good point.
I think we talked about this a little bit at Knoxville, and you know firsthand what that feels like. The year that Steve Kinzer won the record amount of wins, you finished second in points that year, right?
Yeah, I bring that up in the column too. I mean, I won measly 4 races that year. I don't know how many seconds. I know I had a lot of seconds and thirds, a lot of top 5. Somebody told me we finished every race. I can't remember for sure, but it was the most money I've ever won. It was the best, most consistent season I ever had. We finished, as you said, finished second in points, but Steve winning 46 races in like 25 of the last 26 of the year. I mean, we were so lost in the shuffle but here's Shane Stewart winning 9 races, and still a lot of people don't even realize it. So, yeah, I know, and that's kind of when I started out in the column is that comparison and kind of knowing what Shane and the team probably have to be going. I mean, you win 9 World of Outlaws races in a season, that's usually a pretty good season. And Schatz has just been so dominant that like I said, a lot of people haven't even noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, you had the chance this past weekend. Now, granted, Mother Nature did not smile on you or anyone else in Central Pennsylvania, but you had a chance to spend some time over in Central Pennsylvania. I saw some Middlesworth potato chips loaded up and ready to head back home. I saw you stop by our friends Jake's for a good burger and everything with that. But just what's your take on getting a chance to hang out in Pennsylvania, to talk to people, everything like that? From our perspective, and we sit back at a distance, it looks like things are pretty healthy over there. What's your take on what's going on over in Central PA?
Well, it's it was a cold, miserable weekend.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, just driving over there, I hate to admit my age, I guess, but I got to trying to doing. I heard you and Stevie and Kendra talking about the math. I started doing the math when my first trip over there was with Ed Hodenshield, was the only one with a driver's license. We took my dad's pickup truck camper, Jack Hodenshield and Ed Hodenshield and I went over there to the National Open. I had to have been probably 15. So 40 years, some years ago, driving over there and just on the turnpike and seeing the mountains and realizing where I was going and just so much history of that place. And unfortunately for me, I had to come home Saturday after the benefit auction, so I couldn't stay for the race. But just seeing the racetrack and the people and that area and the history back there, it's always going to be a special place and a special memory.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we all feel that way when we walk into Williams Grove. And even new fans, when they go in, they know that this is a special place that they're walking into. Brad, we started something a few weeks ago talking about cost effectiveness in sprint car racing. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from fans, from drivers, teams, promoters on social media about that. From someone who used to race, follows the sport so closely and knows every aspect that goes into this, if you had to look at maybe the top 2 or 3 of cost-effective rules or things we could put in place, what would you look at in the future?
Boy, I really don't know, Kendra, because everybody, you talk to the drivers and teams, and everybody they almost get angry that it seems like anytime they try to make rules to cut costs, it ends up costing the car owners money. But obviously the engines have gotten so out of control, and the world at the World of Outlaws level, I like to compare it to they're the top fuel, equivalent of the top fuel in drag racing or something. I mean, they're supposed to be a 410, bad to the bone, best of everything sprint car, but not everybody in the country can have World of Outlaws type of equipment, or run the World of Outlaws. So it's a fine balance, I guess, in my mind, to keep 410 racing strong enough all over the country and keep them equal enough to compete with the World of Outlaws, or they'll go do something else. What Sod is doing, I don't know a lot about, but that open thing they're doing with a lot smaller tires and that kind of thing, I think is great for a regional series. I think the smaller tires, you can't put the horsepower down, and I've been screaming for a long, long time. I mean, the rear tires on today's sprint cars have gotten out of control. The right rear is not a whole lot bigger, but the left rears are 2, 3, 4 inches wider than they were. Throughout the years, they've gotten that much wider. And when you look at any pictures from, again, I sound like the old timer, and it wasn't perfect in the old days, but to me, the left rear tires are, some of the biggest areas I think we should look at. If go back to some narrower left rear tires, and again, harder tires. I think if you can't put the horsepower down, you don't need to buy a new set of cylinder heads every 6 months to get more horsepower and spend $50,000 or $60,000 on an engine. So, to me, that might be the first place. And then I've always talked about the wing angle. Everybody's talking about dirty air, and I mean, these guys are running the wings. I've even talked to some of the drivers and teams that almost I could see in their eyes. They're like, I never thought of that, or we just do it because everybody else does it. But the angle of the top wing with this flat wing is so severe, and it takes a ton of horsepower, especially at a place like the Grove or Eldora, to pull that car down those straightaways with that wing angle so steep like it is. So maybe a wing angle, I think that's something that could be policed easy. Drop the wing down a little bit, and not only would it help with the dirty air, but I think it would free the cars up and possibly cut down on what everybody needs, the biggest and the best under the hood.
Interesting stuff. It really is, and I always love. That's why I always love getting that perspective, because
someone who knows far more than we do.
Yeah,
Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Brad, another, and I said at the top of the show, wanted to catch up with you because there's so many different things going on. Cost of racing, of course, we knew you spent time in Pennsylvania. Just current state of the sport. But this coming weekend is a sad weekend in upstate New York. Super Dirt Week, the Syracuse Mile, going to have its last run. The state is going to improve the property by tearing down the grandstand, meaning no more 1 mile oval, no more Moody Mile, no more of that. You raced up there, Brad, and it's got to be weird running on those flat 1 mile tracks. And I'm not sure, although I saw some YouTube of Sammy and Jack one time just putting on a spectacular show. But I'm a 4-3 8 mile guy, so I mean the Moody Mile is what it is. What was it like racing up there, though, as we kind of reflect back on this going into the last run at the mile?
Well, somebody tweeted me about that, and actually they came back. I believe it's Billy Pouch has the record at 144 miles per hour average.
Jeez.
Now, when you think, especially back how many years ago that was, but when you think of that as an average on a flat mile, I'd heard that Radar was getting us in the early 80s at 170 plus on the straightaways. Wow. Now, again, kind of like me, I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but that was with engines putting out 650 to 700 horsepower. Today's 900 horsepower sprint cars, I'm glad they don't run them anymore. I think it's too dangerous. I think the speeds would be way, way, way too dangerous today. But if your car felt good, that place, it could be fun. But, man, if you didn't feel good, it was scary because the car would do things. I mean, I remember running there, and it literally felt like somebody was trying to pull my helmet up off my head. The air, the turbulence getting under my helmet was literally pulling my chin strap tight because it felt like it was trying to rip my helmet off. So we had to put some panel in front of right at the cowling of the hood to try to divert some of the air away from the cockpit. And some guys did some aerodynamic things to try to streamline the cars. Others didn't. And but it was a deal where you were very aware of the speed, and everybody gave each other plenty of room. And you mentioned Jack. It was actually Jack and Steve. And I'd heard the story for many, many years, and I also saw that video. And those guys both, I mean, even Steve, his interview after, you could tell that he was glad that race was over. And some of the moves that they were making on each other was just crazy.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you think about that kind of speed, and today we would be freaking out, let alone in the 80s. That's nuts. Hey, Brad, you're located in Ohio. You're really close to what's going on in that. What do you think of how the All-Stars have done the first year with Tony's ownership?
Oh, I think it's been fantastic. I hope the novelty doesn't wear off, but all the teams, everybody seems really happy with what's going on. I hear they've got some big plans for next year, even bigger and better things. And talking to Donnie Graby, competition director, who used to be with the World of Outlaws. I mean, he'll admit it. He said it publicly, and he kind of got thrown in the middle of this thing and didn't realize how much work there was to be done. And he's can't wait for the season to go where he'll have an off season to better prepare and do some things. And so the way everything kind of came together, fell into place, all the hiring of personnel that had to take place, and the scheduling, getting the two organizations that former Renegade deal, schedule, and I think they've all done a great job. And I think again it'll just get bigger and better for them all next year.
Yeah, really exciting time. It really is to see what Tony has put together there in your home state of Ohio. Really, really cool. So what's now? What is the column? It's folks, if you want to check this out, you want to make sure you get your subscription. It's sprintcarandmidget.com. Sprintcarandmidget.com. Can't get the story there. You got to buy the magazine to get the story. What's the column this week, Brad?
Well, it's the last one I just turned in was about Shane Stewart and being kind of overshadowed, but it's kind of ironic. I don't know how much time we have, but he's talking about, Stevie Smith was talking about Moon Byers, and the Larson Marks team, I talked about Steve Succi leaving, I believe it was in May, but a lot of people may not realize how many former Pennsylvania Posse, not only crew members, but crew chiefs now are on the World of Outlaws circuit. That just shows, the talent from back east. But of course, everybody knows Ricky Warner with Shots, but Michael Carver, who was with Brad Sweet, now Lee Stauffer, and Paul McMahon has Barry Jackson, and Saldana has Randy Whoop. So
you're right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so obviously that shows that not only the talent of the drivers back there, but the crew members, because they race so much. And that's what I mentioned in my column as well. That, when those crew members and team members, crew chiefs are used to running 100 races a year. So when the World of Outlaws, it seems to me, when the team owners are looking for some help or crew chiefs, that's been where they've been looking.
Man, that's great. That is great observation. You can catch Brad's column again, Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. If you need to subscribe at sprintcarandmidget.com. Subscribe now and make sure you get it. Brad, always a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me on, you guys. Have a good day.
There we go. That's Brad Doty, one of our favorite. He is a member of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
As he should be.
Yes, absolutely. And we celebrate with them each week the Expand the Dream program. You can find out more at sprintcarhof.com. Sprintcarhof.com. You know whose birthday it is today?
Whose?
Lance DeWeese.
Oh, hey.
Lance DeWeese' birthday today. Wednesday, Emmett Buzz Barton's birthday. Ken Cole's. Thursday, Eddie Rickenbacker, Craig Kinzer, Gary Stanton, Everett Saylor, Donnie Ray Crawford. Friday, Pat O'Connor, Travis Spiderweb, Don Kreit's birthday this Friday. And Saturday, Ralph Liguori and Emmett Hahn's birthday is this coming Saturday. Now, Kendra, Eddie Rickenbacker, okay? 1992 inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. He was in the third class, okay? Born in 1890. At 16 years old, talked his way into a job at the Fryer Miller Auto Plant in Columbus, Ohio, at 16. And the guy that ran the place, Fryer, ran these Vanderbilt Cup races, and Rickenbacker talked himself into the second seat in that car for the Vanderbilt Cup. So at 16 years old, he's running the second seat. That's when they had two drivers in these cars. Well, he went on and raced, and as they developed this car company, he took cars out as a novelty to fairgrounds, to various places, and raced against people, match raced to sell cars. So that's kind of how he got started. He made 4 Indy 500 starts. But as is so many times the case with our Hall of Famers, a war pops up. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
World War I. He joined the Army. In the Army, he became what was known as the ace of aces, arguably ran more miles in World War I than any other pilot, shot down 22 enemy planes. Absolutely amazing. Came out of the war, started the Rickenbacker Auto Company for a while, bought Indianapolis Motor Speedway, sold Indianapolis Motor Speedway, ultimately spent from 1935 to 1963 at Eastern Airlines, ultimately becoming the president, and died in Switzerland in 1973.
This is amazing.
One man.
That is a movie.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane.
Fast Eddie Rickenbacker, and his story and other stories are at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. It's about these stories. I read these things, and it's like, oh, my gosh, it's like watching the History Channel.
Yeah, I mean,
it's something
he
you
did
sit here
everything.
And go, it's amazing. It really is. So we appreciate that. SprintCar, HOF.com. We need to step away because the MOA Series is cranking up their final weekend. We'll talk to Jeremy Standridge next.
Hi, I'm Kyle Larson, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease. Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what your sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon, and now back to Wing Nation.
Thank you, Jeff. Over the 5 or 6 year history of Wing Nation here, we have just raved about some really cool things that have happened. One of them is the MOA Series that has come into existence and really flourished along the way. And Jeremy Standridge, one of the kingpins out there putting it all together, joins us now on the program. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I am fantastic. Jeremy, when you look at it, you're wrapping up another year. I guess question just kind of big picture before we talk about Jacksonville this weekend. How was the season? How are things going with the MOA Tour?
Going great. We had, early in the season, like a bunch of other tracks, had some rainouts. But so we're going into our final race. We've had 11 different drivers win this year, which is amazing considering we've had 6 or 7 rainouts. So we're going to end up with 20 races after the end of this year. 11 different races or drivers win, and 4 different drivers has only won twice or more. So it's been great. It's been very competitive, and this has probably been one of the better years and one of the most competitive years for all the drivers in the series.
When you look back on when you decided, hey, I'm going to do this series, and you look back on that now, do you think, God, I was crazy, or this is the best thing I ever did?
A little both. It's something I think that needed to be done because racing was getting so scarce around here. And at the time, it was just me and my wife, and didn't have the baby or anything, so I had more time to dedicate to. And now it's kind of catching up. Family's kind of catching up with me. So I've handed some stuff off to other people that's have done a lot to help. But it's great. I wouldn't have it any other way. Definitely has brought racing, I think, around the Midwest a lot better. We've had fans rave about the series, about the racing, And it's just, I think it's been great and good overall.
Good for sure. Final big picture question, then we'll talk a little bit about Jacksonville. The National Sprint League, of course, formed up. You guys partnered up for some shows there, and you've been partnering up with the IRA Tour and everything like that. I think conventional wisdom is, oh no, is one going to hurt the other? But does it seem to be bolstering everybody there, or are there areas where you're overlapping a little bit?
Not really. I mean, with the IRA, they tend to stay more north, and the farther south they come is LaSalle.
Mm-hmm.
So they're more Wisconsin, and we tend to help each other out and not try to overlap each other as much as we can and try to work around each other's schedule. Overlapping and not only hurting our drivers that they can choose where they got to go, but helping the fans so they can go and race them, wherever they can. And the NSL, those guys more staying up around Knoxville, South Dakota area, stuff like that. So it really don't overlap that much. And, it's been great. And I think as long as all the series can work together, the more we can work together, the better it's going to be for sprint car racing in general.
Well, let's talk about Jacksonville this weekend with sprints. And I believe are Power Eye Midgets with you guys this weekend too?
Yep, we'll have Power Ride Midgets both nights with us this weekend. And I think we got Modifieds, and they have the Power Ride Micros, I think, Saturday night with us as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big finale for you guys. Hard to believe it's that time of the season already.
Yeah, it's big, and to go to what a lot of our drivers consider our home track, it's going to be fun. 2 nights, and then Friday night we've got together with the promoters. We're going to throw a big party Friday night afterwards. They're going to have a band. We're going to have food. So all the fans come down, mingle with all the drivers. I think Saturday we're going to do maybe a bags tournament during the day with the Power and Midget guys versus the MOA guys, and then, get the fans and donate proceeds to a charity. So we're still working out some of the final details and all that, but it should be a good time. And it's Jacksonville is one of those tracks that anybody can win on. It's so tricky to win on that track that any one of those drivers are capable of winning there.
Now this is not any party. This is called a MOA Palooza party, Kendra. MOA Palooza party. So that is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be one to remember, or one maybe not to remember for the drivers, I guess you could say.
Hey, Jeremy, when you got into this, I mean, you're looking at schedules, and you're looking at rule books, and you're looking at tires and fuel and everything. But now you're talking about MOA Palooza parties, beanbag contests, everything else. How much do you guys put into those extra things to make the fan-driver connection important with MOA?
Well, we take that in consideration a lot. I mean, the series and in general, we try to stay within the rules of everyone, because if you can be in, with the Outlaws IRA and have pretty similar to the rules, you're going to be able to have drivers that come in now and then and work together. But with the fans, you got to stay connected to your fans and work with them and give them that experience, like we've always said, that to make that connection with that driver again, and, bring in the young fans and get them to come back more and more. If you can connect with those fans and those interactions, you're going to get the fans come back and someone remember the root for those drivers time after time. I mean, I don't know how it's hard for me to follow up the 2 legends you just had on, but those 2 were guys that I remember watching and grew up and watching when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it is. It is amazing. That connection is what is important. Great job, Jeremy, with you guys. Website is MidwestOpenWheel.com for the MOA series. Of course, you can check out Jacksonville Speedway this weekend. Jacksonville, Illinois, going to be just a great show, and that MOA Palooza party. Kendra, we need to.
I know. We miss all these big parties.
We need to go to a MOA Palooza party sometime.
It sounds fun to me. I'm in.
Absolutely. Jeremy, thank you for your time. Congratulations on the continued success. Hey, congratulations on the family, everything growing there as well. And have a good weekend in Jacksonville.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There we go. That's Jeremy Standridge. Just great. Just a great story, what's going on there. We need to step away. When we come back, our Kick It Driver of the Week. We'll let you know what's going on across the country and a whole lot more. Stay with us, everyone. Wing Nation continues on.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. Steve and Kendra will be right back.
O'Reilly.
If you're your vehicle has a bumpy ride, it might be time for new shocks or struts. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 4 Monroe shocks and struts for the price of 3 after mail-in rebate. Improve your vehicle's steering, stopping, and stability with Monroe shocks and struts at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Your destination for sprint car history. Check out the Salute to Champion Doug Wolfgang exhibit featuring 5 of Doug's sprint cars, all 5 of his winning Knoxville Nationals trophies, as well as helmets, uniforms, and other Wolfgang memorabilia. Also check out Damian Gardner's world's fastest sprint car that Demon drove at 211 miles per hour at Bonneville. Open 7 days a week all year in the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum.
I'm Kyle Larson, and now I'm Kyle Larson. Now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra. I'm Kyle Larson. Now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate it. Going to have a great weekend coming up. I want to mention this weekend on MAV TV, Greg Wilson going to join us. It's MRN Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires, and the Hercules Tire driver going to join us, and we get to talk about Greg, and of course Greg will be racing along with the other All-Stars Saturday night at Eldora, wrapping up the season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that that's their first year's done. I mean, there was so much drama at this point last year and going into this season. I mean, Steve, that was a last-minute game changer for that series. Right. I remember talking about it in March.
Remember the next to last show we did in November, we had Guy Webb with the All-Stars, and we had the guys from the Renegades. Who did we have there? We had, I forget who we chatted to. One of the guys from the Renegades. Oh, I apologize.
Helms. I believe we had Shane Helms.
Shane Helms. Yeah. We had Shane Helms. And then we had Todd Quering on. We did the new series. The 3 new series, and Guy Webb, we did that. That's right, with Shane Helms. And where we were at a year ago, and that was a year ago next week or 2 weeks down the road is all we are. And look where we're at with this thing. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And to hear Brad say there's bigger and better things coming, it'll be really interesting to see what those are.
Really cool. Hey, coming up, World Finals weekend, we are going to make a Hercules Tire appearance.
I love it.
With Greg Wilson.
I know nothing about tires, but I'm ready to learn.
Yeah. Kendra Jacobs, Steve Post, Greg Wilson's going to Punchy's Tire and
I
Auto
love
Center.
It. Hey, bring it.
Exactly. And so we're going to do that. You can find out more information about that. World Finals weekend coming up, and we'll have more details along the way. Kendra, our Kick It Driver of the Week. What do you have?
Again, I go back to Steve. We would never hear about these stories if it weren't for the fans nominating drivers. Right. And this week, someone gets on Twitter and says, hey, I think Chase Dietz just donated all of his point fund earnings. So we're like, oh, what is the story behind this? So Chase got a hold of us today and said, yep, he donated all of his $358 point fund earnings from Pennsylvania this year, plus his win money from 2 weeks ago to a family friend that's suffering from cancer.
Oh, my gosh.
So nothing public, not a big foundation, not a big event, not looking for attention, just I have a family friend that's going through this. I'm doing what I can to help them. And he said it's been more than $10,000 donated this season. So very, very cool what he's doing. And Chase Dietz, our Kick It Driver of the Week.
You know, Chase is one of those young racers that puts us in good hands going forward. Has ran the 358 Tour in Pennsylvania, and we know how tough that is, and we know how good that series is up there. Did that, won the championship at Williams Grove. So really cool there. Picked up his first 410 win. Rookie of the race for the National Open. So really cool for Chase Dietz. Looking ahead, the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. They're back in action next weekend. That's right, next weekend. They're back in racing action as they are down in Texas, I believe it is, next weekend. So, yes, down at the Devil's Bowl, the famed Devil's Bowl. Aaron Reitzel continues as the point leader. Johnny Herrera, Wayne Johnson, Seth Bergman, Matt Covington, Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, and our friends the Racing Boys, of course. If you can't make it to their event, make sure you check out racingboys.com for pay-per-view or streaming of the event. Kendra, when we look at the schedule of upcoming races,
it is dwindling.
Yes,
Steve.
it is. It's half a page.
It's
or sometimes during the summer it's 2 pages. Exactly. World of Outlaws Friday night or Saturday night, Rolling Wheels, and that's all part of Super Dirt Week. So they'll be up at the wheels. UNOH All-Star Circuit of Champions at Eldora. King of the West Series, Saturday night, Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare. They're gearing up. It's a King of the West Series, but they're gearing up for next week's Trophy Cup.
Is something we've got to get to, Steve. It's all I hear about.
Exactly. MOA Series, we talked about it, Jacksonville Speedway, Friday and Saturday night with that MOA Palooza party. Woohoo! and weekly racing action because well, there's still weekly racing in central Pennsylvania.
Of course.
Yeah,
if it's going to be anywhere, it's Pennsylvania.
Friday night, Williams Grove. Saturday night, the fabulous Lincoln Speedway back in action. And Sunday, hey, folks in Ohio, check this out. You got a good weekend in Ohio. You've got the All-Stars at Eldora on Saturday night and just an open 410 show at Millstream on Sunday. So really, really cool. Good stuff there. Good stuff indeed.
Yeah, I'm just gearing up already, Steve, for World Finals.
Oh, World Finals.
This is in our backyard. We get to be a big part of it. We have some fun. The Sprint Hall of Fame comes and hangs out with us.
I don't think we can talk about it, but we've got some cool things planned. Folks.
Steve, we always have cool things. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. You're hanging with Kendra Jacobs. You're hanging with the cool kids right there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
World Finals coming up right here at Charlotte. All dirt roads lead to Charlotte. And if you don't have tickets, I'm not telling you you're too late, but you might want to call the Speedway and get them because there will be a time before they open the gates where you will be too late.
Right.
This will sell out. This has been an amazing race because all of them, Knoxville has its own flair and flavor. And Kings Royal has its own flair and flavor. National Open does. The World 100 late model race, Super Dirt Week for the modifieds. They all have their own flair and flavor. And this World Finals has grown into its own deal with all three of those tours being brought together. It's just an epic way to end the year.
I like to poke fun at late model racing and modified racing because it's just not what we do.
Right.
And it's all tongue in cheek. I respect all forms of racing. But it's fun that week to get a taste of those other series because, Steve, that's not something we normally go to or that we follow along with. We have to follow along with so much sprint car racing now. We don't really get to know these guys in late models and modified. So it's fun for us there. And thank goodness we have the Stremmies that can fill us in on all that other good stuff on the dirt tracks.
Right. So we've got Slingin' Dirt and Wing Nation every Tuesday right here on MRN. You mentioned the Stremmies. We've got a little conflict here, though, because Ashley's in the better half dash, but so is Caitlin Sweet.
I know. And it's hard to...
Yeah, so
it's
go
a tough
to
one.
Go to just Google in your machine better half dash and support one of our ladies.
Either Ashley or Caitlin.
Yeah, exactly.
It all goes to a good place.
It goes to a good place, but the one who gets the most support
gets to pick their starting position.
Yeah.
Where do you pick, Steve?
Hello, exactly. So that's Thursday night. So really, really cool, and it's just a great, great cause. Really, really fun stuff. World of Outlaws at Rolling Wheels again. I'm going to be interested to see how that goes and what happens. I know there's something else with Eldora. Brett Marks is going over to Eldora.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks to Stevie Smith. Thanks to Brad Doty. Thanks to Jeremy Standridge. But thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation.
You've been listening to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.